Our next presenter is Nicholas Ivan Derk. He is a product manager at Castle Rock Research, which is an education, technology, and publishing company here in Edmonton. So whenever you're ready, Nicholas, go right ahead.
So it always happens that we have to do a presentation that day, you get a head cold. So I apologize for my voice. I'll do my best. I'm not that tight. That's not pretentious at all, is it? So my holy trinity, because I kind of live and breathe mobile stuff, is 3 groups. First one is developers. I have a lot of self-interest in terms of my developers, the ones that I manage. But there's 2 other groups. There are customers and there are users. A lot of people ask me why I split these into 2. So I thought I'd do a talk about that. So like Lee said, I'm Nicholas. I'm a product manager at Castle Rock Research. We do a lot of different projects. We have our own CMS for creating content and our own platforms for deploying it. So we have various product managers that go over all of them, and I'm one of them. So Castle Rock, we're a K-12 study guide publisher. We've been operating for 20 years this past January. We've got 1 million books sold just in Canada. We're expanding the US slowly, but that's a significant number considering we only have 35 million people in Canada. And the next generation platform we've created is Solero. So Solero can deploy custom books that are generated automatically, as well as web and mobile apps. A quick note on our mobile work, which is what I focus on most often. We have iOS, Android, and Windows 8.1 apps. They're all native, so they're done in the native frameworks. And we have 3 separate teams that work on that, all talking to a common API that's running on our Ruby on Rails server application. That's in Heroku. So Solero. Solero is 1,500 courses across the US and Canadian curriculums. The biggest one right now is Common Core. That's what's being implemented in the States. So we have a big sales push on that. The primary driver is you're taking practice tests. So students are testing their knowledge and then getting help just in the areas that they need it. That help comes in the form of step-by-step solutions and full remedial lessons that are designed to identify gaps and give them the information of where they may have missed something. Say if they're in grade 6 and they're missing a concept, we've gone through and analyzed that and said, oh, they may be missing a concept that was in grade 5 or grade 4. The lesson is designed to highlight that stuff for them. We also have an assignment builder for teachers. They can use our item bank to create their own formative assessments and push those out to students, whether it's on the web or on their mobile device. And we went ahead and threw in flashcards, study notes, and a bunch of multimedia tied to the lesson content, just so that kind of we keep people in the app. You don't have to go to notes to do stuff. So, Solero users. The biggest group is obviously students, right? It's a study application. Students are the one who needs to study. But like I said, we have a teacher component, so we also have teacher users. Teachers and students need someone to manage them. So we have school administrators. They don't go in that often, but they are a very distinct user. And then all of these groups have to talk to parents. So we actually have 4 different user types within the Solero application. So here's a question. Which one of these are our customers? Anyone? It's a trick question because it depends. Depends on what business model we're deploying with. So on the top there, you see the different users. And on the left, we see a very kind of high-level overview of the different business models that we deploy under. So an individual would be, I'm going out and buying Solero to study on my own. So which one of those 4 buys an individual license? Students? Not a student I know. I sure wouldn't. I was at school under duress. A lot of students are. Teachers aren't really working on the individual, they're working on the classroom level, and they don't have the money to do it anyway. And school administrators, same thing, they're working at a school level or a district level. So in this case, it's the parents, right? Bulk, classroom sets, school licenses, site licenses, that kind of thing. Students definitely aren't doing that. Parents, PTAs maybe, I've never seen it, but it could happen. Teachers seem logical, but again, they actually don't have very many resources financially to buy things for their students. So in this case, it's the upper levels of the school administration that would have to sign on the dotted line to order Solero for them. Sponsored is interesting in that a lot of corporations have public outreach, community enrichment programs, that type of thing, where they have money earmarked for investing in the communities in which their employees live. And education is one of those things that makes everyone feel good. So we've been able to do a couple of those things, but they're not users in any sense, right? A corporate person is not going to use any of these in terms of their donation. They might use it personally, but not on that level. So that's really complicated. That's a big grid with a lot of blank space in it. And you might be saying that's kind of a unique situation for Castle, right? Why should you guys care about that? Well, let's talk about some specific mobile application genres and kind of go through splitting apart the customers and the users and why things might be a little bit more complex than they first seem. So first up is games. Games, they really don't have any enterprise deployments. You don't have companies buying them en masse. And even in terms of paid games, the market is very, very small compared to two large forms, which is free to play and ad supported. So let's go through both of those. Free to play, like the Temple Run. Everyone who downloads the app for free is using the app. They're playing the game, in theory. But who are the customers? Customers are actually a very small sliver of your user base. They're still users, but if you're looking at targeting the people who are actually making money, you're not targeting users, you're targeting a small subset of those users. And in particular, about 1% of that 3% are what is referred to as whales. They're people who will spend 5 or 6 figures into a single game. They do exist. So they're the ones who are really funding your development. They're the ones who are paying your people. How do you target those particular users? That's where a lot of the addiction mindsets and stuff that have been implemented in free-to-play games come from. It's focusing on that customer. Ad supported, like the Flappy Bird. People who download the apps are users again, right? But the customer is your advertisers and your ad network. They're the ones who are actually paying. User is providing attention to your customer, which again is the advertiser. So do you make your game for the users, or do you make it for the customers? You got to make it for both, but it's an interesting balance, considering that you could do something that is good for the user, but not good for your advertisers, and your revenues will fall. Switch over to utilities. Productivity software can be part of the enterprise, right? Is it going to make them money? Professionals. I like the 1Password. I've got it on Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and every time they update it for pay, the credit card comes out. I love paying for that software because it makes me money. I use it dozens of times a day, and it makes everything I do more secure, much, much faster, right? So we've got enterprise, and we've got individual professionals that are willing to spend money on apps like this. But how do you target both? Well, the original business model of apps was purchase and download, right? You put a price tag on it, they pay the price of downloads. So this is kind of where we started. iOS has something called VPP, which allows a business to buy multiple licenses of an app to distribute. If it's over 20, they get a 50% off whatever your list price is. And that can be in the form of redemption codes that are given to users to be signed to their Apple ID, or it can be distributed kind of as a licensing model where you can grant user access to an app for a period of time and then rescind it later. Android is better in some ways, more cumbersome in others. It's pretty much APK sideload. So you can email them binary, they can launch it and install it, that's pretty easy. But there's no way of pulling licenses back. There could be pretty good piracy going on there. So just keep that in mind. So it sounds like there's multiple ways of handling the enterprise that also works for individuals. So sounds great. Except that this is how distribution works in terms of payments. Purchase and download is only a quarter of what is generated by in-app purchases. So in-app purchases, it increases your discoverability big time, right? You can download an app, try it out, and then pay for it later. We found that users will actually pay more for an in-app purchase once they've played with the app versus what the price tag is before they even get to download it. Limits your deployment options though. An in-app purchase cannot be deployed by VPP. You can download an app and distribute it to all your people, but they would have to purchase that in-app on their own using their personal Apple IDs. It also increases the complexity of your sales cycle in terms of those enterprise deployments. Enterprise is the definition of many users, one customer, right? There's a procurement officer that has to decide what all the users get. And that procurement officer may shop around. If they're proactive, they will. But I find that they don't. They sit back and they say, I need this. And they wait for people to tell them about stuff, usually in the form of an RFP. Has anyone had to do an RFP, request for proposal? They're horrible. They're a big toxic process. If you're trying to land an enterprise deal, be prepared for dozens of meetings over many, many months, because they want to be wine and dine. They want to be absolutely sure that what they're getting is something that they can live with for a long time. Because once you have an enterprise deal, it's hard to lose it. But this entire time that you're doing those meetings, not working on your product, right? If you're a smaller shop or you shop one man, and you're doing everything, you just want to work on your product, but you can just be in a big quagmire trying to chase after an enterprise and then be told, well, another vendor did it. Even if there are no other vendors, they just kind of looked at your app and got to make an idea. They also expect higher levels of support on an enterprise level, and that's where the in-app purchase part starts to come back in. So it's not a very easy deploy, so they're going to expect custom development out of that. So I've spent most of this talking about monetization, but I am a product manager. I like making products. So what about that? What about developing products? So to fit with the theme of the night, I thought I'd show you what we were doing with the Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch, the reason that we're interested in it, even though we're kind of an education company, kind of a more conservative industry, it's the new hotness, right? Everyone's talking about it, it's not going to. Once it's out, everyone will be like, it's great, it sucks, but they'll still be talking about it. Apple prioritizes devs who support their ecosystem. So if we want to be a good iOS citizen and get some of that nice top spot, saying, hey, we're supporting your watch, which is what you're pushing most of your resource requirements here, Apple notices that stuff. People who buy watches, in addition to iPhones, and those watches cost more than the iPhones do on contract, they're pretty good customers, right? That Apple Watch edition, solid gold, it's going to be $5,000 minimum. The gold itself is just going to be $3,000 on its own. Gold is $1,000 an ounce right now. So if someone's dropping that much money on a watch, in addition to the phone, they're not going to sneeze at paying you. So supporting the watch is really a marketing decision, right? So product development is still coming back to marketing and sales. Let's go back to the users. Who do we build Apple Watch features for? A lot of students, right? What are they going to use a watch? I don't have a watch. Does anyone, and I'm 30, does anyone in my age wear a watch anymore? They might once the Apple Watch comes out, we don't know. Teachers, they don't get paid enough. Teachers are woefully underpaid. School administrators, they don't care. So it's the parents, right? Parents wear watches. Parents actually own, the average person over the age of 40 owns 6 watches. Parent features. What are we going to build for the parents? They're not studying. So you really got to sit there and think, okay, these are the guys who are going to make the money, right? These are guys who are going to move the needle on sales. They're actually paying for a product. What do they want to see out of features that we built for them? Well, the first step is to do glances for student progress. The reason they're buying it is they want to see a kid improve their grades. That's our tagline. It's like improve your grades. So let's give them a quick overview of their student progress. Also, like Lee said, we found that notifications are extremely powerful given the current SDK. So we can do things with notifications like tell them when they log on and log off. Why would a parent want to know when a student logs on, logs off? Hey, I'm going to go up to my room and study, closes the door. 50 minutes go by, they haven't logged on, right? I would love that. Homework assigned and when it's due. If a teacher gives an assignment and it's due the next day, I'm going to go over to Jimmy's and we're going to go play. No, you're not. You're doing your homework. Very mundane, but again, very important to the bottom line is billing issues. If we hit their credit card and it doesn't go through, getting a notification wherever they are on the wrist is pretty cool. And because the Apple Watch will support Apple Pay, hopefully in Canada very soon, but again, we're moving into the US where it's taking off, we can have an option that says, get your account up to date with Apple Pay, one tap. Don't have to bother them again. Pretty excited about that. So I usually like to end things with a quote. So I'll grab it from someone who's much smarter than I am and just say when you're developing this kind of stuff and you're really trying to find success with your apps, whether you're an indie or a big company, this is really, really true. Again, I'm only 30. I haven't been doing this too long, but I've seen this be the case. Things that are really easy to bang out a couple weeks, they take months to come to fruition in terms of return on investment. Something like Solero, excuse me, where we've been working on it for 4 years. 1,500 courses is a lot to make, right? It's going to be many more years before we see that. We've sunk a lot of money into it. But we can already see where the trend is heading. So again, my name's Nicholas. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me directly at that email address. It's also my iMessage and FaceTime. If you have any questions, concerns, disagreements with what I talked about, you can do that. We're also hiring at Castle Rock. We're doing .NET, Ruby, and iOS development, both Objective-C and Swift. If you know anyone or if yourself is interested, just reach out to me. We'll talk. And I have a QA slide as well. So if anyone has any questions, I will try to answer it. Again, you can kind of see my voice is failing at the end of this. We do a lot with mobile at Castle Rock. We're doubling down on it. We're doing even more. We're working with Microsoft on adding phone support, and like you said, we're doing Apple Watch, and if Apple Watch does well, we might do Android Wear. The thing that we like about Android Wear is, again, it targets higher-end Android users that are using higher-end phones. So we look at that demographic stuff quite closely when we're examining that. So current Android Wear sales are not very good. 700,000 units in 9 months, whereas analysts are forecasting 5 million in the first quarter for Apple Watch. So it's hard to justify, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for your kind attention. I really appreciate it.